So, good morning, everyone. And this morning in I Am Woman Hour, we're going to be exploring what is it like when we're selling, what we love doing, and really pull on the emotional side of selling what we're doing emotionally. Because I don't know if you know, 55% of customers buy just on emotion and then clicks in what it looks like and then clicks in about the words connected to it. So, this emotional stuff connected with selling is just so important to get right because if you're getting all the emotional stuff wrong, then you're losing 55% of the potential audience. So it's really just so important. And today, I'd like to sort of explore with you first, because we have Zade Campbell Davies, who's the queen of sharing emotional stuff and visionary online. I'd love to know what's your experience of selling emotionally to people. Perhaps you've never even thought of that as a technique of selling emotionally to people. And it's been really interesting over the weekend. I've been working on story branding. And in story branding, it says that you have to elicit somebody's problem and go and pick up the emotions connected with that problem. That's the first thing you need to do. Think about the problem that your clients are facing, and then obviously you are the solution to that. So it is almost like picking apart, what you think your customers' problems are, and how do you make that into feelings that they can really connect with you? Because unless they feel the pain, they're not going to buy. So unless you can find the pain that your clients are facing, they're not going to buy from you. So, Karen, I'm going to throw you under the bus first. So, Karen, can you tell us what your experience is of selling using emotion in business?
I think emotion is where the connection happens because when you feel something, it's like you can understand and you see the value of the product really when there's that connection in feeling, well, I felt like this, so it would help me. That is how I experience feeling in selling, and obviously from the other side is this selling to someone. Again, it's that connection, connecting with their pain in why they need your product is key.
And what's really interesting, and I don't know if you've noticed it with your clients, you can talk fact with them and it goes nowhere. But as soon as you start talking about something in the context of a story, everyone starts listening because everyone loves a story because they know what's
Mm.
involved in a story. So sometimes it's thinking about, okay, what story should I be telling as part of this unraveling what their problem is? So thank you, Karen. So good morning, Lynn. Over to you. Can you tell us your experience of selling using emotion?
Well, despite the fact that all my work is involving emotions with people, I really have avoided this for a long time. It just felt a bit, I don't know, uncomfortable for me to do. But I'm learning, and I'm learning that we have to identify the pain. Um, so I am getting used to that and the idea of storytelling around that. So that is coming on more and more on board now. But for a long time, I felt like keep the emotions out of it because you don't want to upset people. And it almost felt too private to share. So I really was a real struggle for me to like overcome that, I guess, and start looking at it all in a different way.
Because people can really feel they're in tune with you once you can
Mm.
identify with their problem and then offer up a story of something you went through in your past. And it's almost then offering them that opportunity to say, hey, that happened to me. And
Mm.
I can really identify with what you're talking about. And suddenly you're in dialogue, and suddenly, you're really connecting and developing rapport at a completely different level. And people always say to me, when I come to you, does everyone always cry? And I would say, yeah, they probably do, because I take people into their soul for them to really connect with what's going on. Because I always think people can talk superficially about stuff, but when you've touched somebody's soul and you've cracked them open, because that's when, We all sort of then touch the emotions and the water flows and, the magic starts happening. And I'm sure Zade is going to be telling us more about that because we had a session like that working together last week and it was truly energized and it was amazing. So thank you, Lynn. Coming to you, Emily, how does emotion in selling what you do happen? Because of course you're working in a creative space. So how does this emotion turn up in a creative space?
I think, well, I started doing videos of me talking on social media only in January. I used to do it, got my anxiety crept back in, and I just didn't do it for ages. And then I forced myself at the start of this year. It was kind of a bit of a challenge, and then I was like, do it anxiously, and then it'll get easier. Like someone said to me, confidence is a practice. So I decided that was almost like a public challenge I was going to do with people. So and now I do think that my following has increased and I'm connecting more with people who get it and like understand what I'm trying to do. Um even though like not my videos of me aren't necessarily my most liked posts, but they're the ones that I think connect with my loyal followers. Um but it is difficult because some of these people I actually work with they come to my workshops and things. There it's starting to like there's a line that's starting to um I need to work out what the line is. Like I've had a few issues recently where people have like not got on or someone said something to someone. So it's like almost like I've become the parent now. So I'm almost at that point where I'm like, okay, I need to separate myself somehow. But I find it really difficult because I'm almost too involved.
So you mentioned that you get more of a following once you start doing video. What do you think you can get over in video that you don't get over in words alone?
Um, I People can see you're genuine, like yeah, and they almost buy into you and not just your branding or your brand. They
Right.
buy into what you are offering.
Mm.
Um, and
And
I
do
think
you sell
that's
more? Do you sell more when you do a video on something rather than just words?
that's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't know. I've noticed I've definitely in terms of followers, I've increased my followers because it got stagnant. So my followers have been like slowly increasing again. Um, but I don't know if I necessarily sell anything. So when I'm talking, I'm not saying buy something. So almost every other post is trying to sell something. And then the ones I do where I'm just talking about like how I feel or do you feel this or they almost then build that loyalty. So I'm not selling in those ones.
That's
So I don't know if I'm missing a trick or if that's a good thing.
Mm. So in a way, you're building brand loyalty through
Yeah,
videos. And so when the sale comes up, it's an easier ask and an easier purchase for your customers.
yeah,
Mm.
I think so.
It's really interesting when you start exploring it. You're saying, "Oh, am I doing that? Is that what's happening? Oh, I'll have to keep a
Yeah.
record of that." Lovely. Thank you for that, Emily. And Zaid, over to you. Perhaps you'd start off by perhaps sharing our experience last week of really tapping into the emotion stuff around selling because Zaid brought her along a presentation, and most of you know me by now. The first slide I said, "Oh, we're not going anywhere with these slides. Let's get you moving about, and let's get timelining you, and let's start unraveling all the emotion that you really know that somebody goes through when they're going through what it is you're talking about, taking them through." Because sometimes we forget that we are taking people through a learning experience and we've been through that learning experience, but we somehow then turn into like an academic, say what people go through without really going through what we went through. Yeah, we almost think, oh, now I've been through it myself, I'm holier than thou and I can just reel this stuff out like I'm reading it from a book, as opposed to sharing the pain. Yeah, where there's pain, you're going to gain, because you can really make connections with your pain and the pain of other people. So, Zade, perhaps you could take some time before you go into your presentation and talk to us about what happened last week and how did that help you really connect with what your clients are going through?
So this was all tied in with my signature program, and it's about tapping into your creativity again, and then the extension of that will be how to connect that with your brand and understanding yourself and all the work that goes with. So as Cheryl said, I was in balls of tears at the end because when I had started my presentation and looked at the pain points, I was looking at that from where I am now and using language that I would use now, looking back and describing how I felt. And then Cheryl was like, absolutely not. We're going to get you back in that position. So I had to really take myself back there. And we did a physical timeline process and just felt energetically what it was like to be in that position again. And it really changed the language I would use and the emotions attached to it and gave it gravitas, really, didn't it? Um, and I was able then to see the direction I needed to start at. I need to start at this point where I was rather than starting where I am now and trying to access that from there. Um, so yeah, that's been quite a journey for me this week, and it's quite different to how I approach my day-to-day reel. So it'd be interesting to see how I incorporate that now more, like with my online content, not just with my signature program. To answer your question.
Yeah. And perhaps that's something we all tend to do. We think about where we are now to explain to our clients what it feels like as we take them through learning, as opposed to going back to how we felt like when we were them taking those first steps. So we can really identify with where they're at in their journey, because of course they're not where you're at. And if you're using the language of you selling it where you're at now, they're not going to understand it, because it might have taken you 10, 20, 30 years to be where you're at in your business right now, as the mentor, as the person, the guide taking somebody through where they need to follow you through a learning process. So it's really interesting to step back into their shoes and say, oh gosh, this is what it felt like starting, where I started in this process. And these are the feelings I've got to talk about, because they will identify with those feelings as opposed to what you're saying, now. Yeah. And that was quite a challenge, wasn't it, Zaid? Because we had to take you back. So perhaps you can explain that part where you actually went back into that space of where you found your creativity. Because of course you're selling creativity classes. And so you went back to how you found your creativity. Perhaps you could explain what happened then.
Yeah, so for example, where I started was I was using language like you're feeling creatively uninspired or disconnected. And Cheryl was saying that's not the language. And I didn't quite understand what she meant by that. But when we brought me back into a place where I was, before I'd accessed my creativity again, I was feeling tired and heavy. And I was waking up thinking, I don't want to be doing the same thing anymore. And, it was those literal moments rather than it being a general blanket under some fancy language. It was that real grittiness of feeling so heavy you didn't want to get out of bed. It's not uninspired. So like the emotional connection with the language was really different, and physically to feel that as well. Throughout the flow that Cheryl was taking me through, you really feel it and you embody it. And then Lynn's always said to me, oh, when someone's here and here, you go down to their level and you meet them there, and then you slowly can bring them up. And that's what I felt like I was trying to do with myself then after this session. So it was, how do I meet myself in this place, my old self, and bring myself up there? So I need to work through those steps in my program, almost holding my old self's hand and stepping through, it's revisiting those wounds and then working through them in that way. Where I was seeing myself before as more holding a hand down and grabbing someone and helping them up. Yeah. So it's very physical, isn't it? It's a physical experience.
Very physical, and it was things like you mentioned things like waking up feeling every day was the same. Well, people can relate to that if they're not tapping into their creativity, feeling that they were afraid to be different,
Yeah.
feeling that they always had to fit in, and feeling that they always had to make other people happy, and feeling that it was never really about them, it was all about other people. And so we really started getting into the world of somebody who lacked creativity, because that's where you were in that space before you found the creativity. And do you
Yeah.
want to take us through then the process you went through when you then said, and then I did, then you started talking about, then you realized that, I think you went to a class or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
was
I
yeah.
yeah, Lynn would call me a serial hobbyist, really. I'd done everything from cake decorating to, yeah, you name it. I'd gone through it all and not really felt fulfilled and didn't really understand myself in that process so much. And then I I kind of hit rock bottom and thought I need to do something else. I need to make a change. So I went to a pottery class and it was like an hour and I made a complete mess and I sat down and nothing else mattered and I zoomed in and I had me time and I really connected with myself. Um, and nothing else really mattered around it for that time. It was just solely for me. And it was when I started nurturing myself and giving myself that space to have um, uninterrupted creativity that everything started changing for me outside and inside my pottery world, really. Um, yeah, and I was able to find my own identity almost through this creative space. Um, yeah, so that's where it started.
So can you see now, Zaid really knows how to get into that energy of where her clients are at, where they are at the stage where it's just so painful, they've got to do something different, otherwise things will stay the same. And she's also illustrated then what happens taking that first step. So she's already, in some ways, started off with, workshop one, yeah, where they protect their creative space, yeah, and they're stepping in to do something with you. And so you can see how the rest of the program can unravel. But the most important part is she's really connected with it, with where her clients are, and also those first steps. And also, I'm sure now can sell what the success looks like after an 8-week course or something like that. Yeah, you can already feel she's in the flow of it. So are there any questions before Zade starts presenting on that theme? Because I'm guessing, Karen, that's where you are in what you're doing, because you're working with people and wanting to get them on board with you, and they're going to be in a certain space that you've got to make sense of.
Yes.
So can
So
you?
yeah, you're waiting for me to say more to that.
Yes,
Silence. Yes, I mean mine is about being in a place where you feel like you're in absolute chaos. Everything's reliant on you. Your business is starting to grow. So how do we create a new operational system for you to make you feel like you're stepping out of chaos? And I mean, that in the end is speaking to that place where you feel there's too much on your plate, you're dropping the ball. It feels like chaos. You've got this vision in your business, but you feel like you're never going to get there because all you're doing is you're putting out fires all the time. So it's really speaking to that pain of someone that's got a big vision, but they don't know how they're going to get there really with all the chaos in the day-to-day, the day-to-day activities that's involved in running a business. So
thank you, Karen. And Lynn, you've already done this, haven't you? You've identified almost like the matrix for organizations who are not implementing well-being and what that could look like if they don't implement it. Perhaps you can just add a little bit onto that.
Yeah, I guess that's where my work comes in really, about those well-meaning organizations that aren't all right, but they might be offering a lot of different things, but nothing might be working. So it's about, like, for me, is that tapping into that emotion of how that feels when you're trying everything and you're, putting things in place for people, and they're not, it's just not helping things. So the attendance is still low, and people are not happy at work, and maybe there's a lot of disruption in teams and all that kind of pain that goes with that.
And what it's really important that we do is to find out the exact problem we're solving and to keep talking about it. Because once we start talking about that, we are
Mm.
the answer to this problem that we've made into something quite unique. We then start being seen in the marketplace as the expert in that because other people won't be talking about it. They'll be selling product as opposed to being a solutions provider. Yeah. And
Mm.
people buy solutions to their problems, they do not buy product. So just by doing this piece on your business, you're going to be seen as the expert actually delivering solutions to this problem. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, I'm going to go general. But in going general, you almost become white noise. So you've got to be really specific about the problem that you're solving. And you are the only one that is providing this solution. Your solution is a unique solution. And you've got to be talking about it in that way. And you are the person who's best placed because of blah, 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 to actually resolve this solution with people. So yeah, we're all going to be marketing experts after all this. Oh gosh, I'm learning so much, so much. So Zaid, over to you, because whenever I see your reels and your photographs, oh gosh, I feel as though I'm watching a movie and I'm thinking, I want to be there. I want to be in there where you are. Because whatever you do and whatever I see of yours, it's almost like I sit down and take notice, yeah? And it must be a magical, approach that you have in order to capture the essence of what you do. So perhaps you could explain what it is that you do so we can all learn from you.
Okay, I'm going to waffle at you a little bit. I've written down some notes. But in essence, exactly what you said. Uh, I'm just trying to find a calm space for people to connect. And that is my overriding like message in all my reels. I want you to stop and reflect and connect with me. And from that, my intention is we build trust and we build followers and we build traction. And like Emily said, you quite kind of created a loyal client base there and people take notice. But immediately I've noticed the change in my business following and my interaction when I've moved more to reels than photos. Because our attention spans something around 7 seconds before COVID, and I think they're even less now. So if you have too much of long captions, especially on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, people will read, and you have that movement very fast, so you're not getting that engagement. Um, and I have fallen into the wonderful world of the Edits app. So it's connected to Instagram. I don't know if you use it. If you don't, you should. It doesn't matter if you make your content on there or not. But it's really helped me in the last few weeks because if you channel all your content through Edits, whether it's a photo or a video, it then comes back with really clear insights for you. So the last reel I made about Cheryl was actually my one with the best engagement and least skip rate because I took the client on a journey. So if you haven't seen it yet, I kind of go through the motion of me going to see her and her dogs, and I recited a poem that Cheryl read to me, which stuck with me for a while. And people followed that journey and kept them engaged. And if they're engaged, they show up more you show up more on their Instagram and socials, and you have that connection. And inevitably, you'll show up on more people's Instagrams and stuff then as well. So let me flick over. Let me share my screen.
How many views did you have on that then, Zaid?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it does it tells you like the skip rate, and it was like this is the lowest skip rate in the world. So like Michaela says, it you understand those figures more of like a rate of conversion and if they've ended up on your website. So it does give you a nice insight of that. Let me share my screen.
And what is this edit then? You mentioned the edit. So is that part of Instagram?
It's called Edits. So it automatically put it on my phone. So it might be on yours when the last time Instagram updated, but it's literally called Edits and it's an app and it connects to your Instagram and you plug things through there. Let me show you mine.
And it helps you put reels together then, does it?
Yeah, so it does offer templates. I don't so much use that function, but it'll kind of show you the ones that you've put through here. And if you click on one, if you click down the bottom, see, it'll show you your views and what times they were interacting with, so you can get an idea of when's best to post for your audience. It will tell you how many saves, how many clicks to your profile, so you can see what's working for you and follow that really. But overall, can you see my screen here?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is like my Instagram page. And you can see I've tried to keep quite a clear message and aesthetic so people know exactly what they're getting and understand me and the energy I'm bringing to my work. And this is immediately an insight into that. So people who don't make it to your website, this is their first glimpse of you. So it's a great exercise to kind of go back on your Instagram and say to a friend or a family member, look at my homepage, tell me 3 words that it says to you. And you can see what other people are getting, because I think it's so easy to get lost in that sort of web of I'm just going to share, but really you better off sharing less and understanding the message and the journey that your client is going on. Another great app for that is called Preview. So it allows you to pull in any reels that you've made before, and you can jiggle them about, and you can see how your grid would work. So here you can see things I haven't posted yet, but I can move. I can move them. I can move them around to see if that fits better in different places, and I can play with captions so you can kind of see your overview there. So that's a nice place to visually see your grid. But first and foremost, I went into a bit of a hermit phase, and in order to get this in a place where it was cohesive, I had to understand myself better and what was important to me and that journey. So I'm going to pull up this page here. So this is my one of my corporate proposals, and I went through and I made a brand ethos. And this was for me first and foremost, more than anyone else. So it just was the key principles that were important to me and that I wanted my audience to understand. So mine was about the earth, literally clay. It was organic and rooted. The body, the shape of my pieces, how I wanted them to look aesthetically, and then the soul, like my soul, the consciousness, and how I wanted that all to connect. So in every business proposal, that will go out so they can understand a little bit more about me. And I think that's a really nice place to start as well, to just have that understanding of your core messages. I also do this for all of my clients. So anyone who's a potential customer, I'll go in and I'll connect their work to mine. So you can see here, I would do this, and then I'd share some of my work which connected with their language. So it's finding those bits of you. What else did I want to say?
It's absolutely beautiful. What would you suggest, though, Zade, if people don't have a product? And so, say somebody like Lynn, who is training people, and it's all about knowledge.
So Lynn's going to shout at me. I try and make her do it, but I think the important thing is to connect, and it's not even so much about the visual, it's about having that language over the top. So voiceovers for me have been like a game changer. I can share a picture of a tree and it can be slow moving and hold space for me to share a poem or to share a thought of the day. But it's holding that space and creating that trust. And you know, if I was working with Lynn as like a online mentor for creative stuff, I would be like, let's just do one a week. We'll just start with one a week, and we'll give a little insight, or even just have some video without audio of her in her space doing what she does. It's just something to connect with people, and they feel like they're trusting, because they're trusting Lynn. Lynn is who they're buying there, so we need to see her and understand her. and also think about the energy of the product you're selling. So if you need it to be calm, we don't want fast moving reels. We don't want like transitions. We don't want things spinning round. We want it to be nice and slow and steady. So you're already showing them that you're trustworthy with the energy that they want. Um, so it's going back to that fundamentally, I think. And then you can connect all sorts of things to it, whether it's a still picture and it's just voiceover over the top. It's just understanding what you're trying to say and that it's authentic to you. And we're not trying to copy anyone else's stuff. It has to come from within. And I think that's what I'm I'm trying to do in my signature program, is find a cohesive way of unpacking that.
So could you show us the video you did based on coming to see me? Because that was a story, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure.
So because you had such high ratings, perhaps you could have a look at the numbers on it as well whilst you're opening it up to see how many hits you got on it for us to think, oh gosh, this is what we got to aim for then.
Oh, will you be able to hear it on here?
Yeah, should do.
Oh, it might be a bit slow to load, but I can send the link over. That might be easier.
I had a one-to-one with Gerald Bass, who is my.
Yeah, it's gonna buffer. Let me share it for you. See if that works instead.
And perhaps you can see how many views that you had on it.
Okay.
Because is it Instagram that pay you per so many views, or is that Twitter? Or no?
So TikTok do that. You have to sign yourself up as a content person as well, which is not my expertise. But there is a way to do that. I'm still very much a baby in this, although I feel like it's going quite well at the moment. I've sent that over if you did want to have a look.
So should we all have a little listen to and have a look at it? Oh, I've got to sign up.
Ah, why is that?
They won't let us do it. Oh, here we are.
I was going to say, can you just hold it up on your phone, maybe?
Is it working?
I can see the visuals, but I can't hear the sound.
Yeah, should I just hold it up?
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, go on then. Do you have an iPad or no?
No. Yeah. Here we go.
Today I had a one-to-one with Gerald Bass, who is my business mentor. This was my second one-to-one with her, and honestly it's been valuable so far, not only for the lovely kennels with her pups, but for understanding more about myself and my business and what's important to me. It's a lot more than you'd expect when you say the words business mentor. It's deep grounding work, understanding your journey and the emotional aspects of it as well. And Gerald shared this poem with me, which I thought I'd share with you as food for thought for the day. Follow your bliss. The heroic life is living the individual adventure. There is no security in following the call for adventure. Nothing is exciting if you know what the outcome would be. To refuse the call means stagnation. What you don't experience positively, you'll experience negatively. You enter the forest at the darkest point where there is no path. Where there is a way or a path, it's someone else's path. You are not on your own path if you follow someone else's way. You are not going to realize your own potential. The goal of the hero trip, down to the jewel point, is to find those levels in the psyche that open, and finally open to the mystery of yourself, being Buddha consciousness and Christ. That is the journey. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But it really made me think today.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful piece.
Yeah, so you know what I mean about the visuals at that point. Once you've hooked them, you can be quite passive with it, and it's just as long as the overviews go in.
And how do you get the visuals? Do you buy film clips or do you do them?
No, I've literally got into a habit of, I saw this thing called it's about glimmers. Have you heard of glimmers and the little positive things that you see that make your day better? And every time I see one now, I'll just take a little video and it can be 3 or 4 seconds. I tend to take them on the cinematic mode on my phone. And normally if you zoom in a little bit, it gives you a nicer effect. So that's what I film everything on. And then when I put them into edits or whatever I'm editing with, I slow the speed down, so it's slow moving. So you can take like 10, 15 seconds of footage from a 3 second clip that you took in the park. So I just tend to build up little banks like that and you can reuse them and they're really yeah, they're really malleable then. So
You can find stuff on Canva as well, can't you? Like video
yeah,
clips and things, and they'll help you put reels together
yeah,
um, if you don't have your own. So you might want, yeah, if you don't spend all your day on building sites, you might want to actually look on
yeah,
there. I bet they've got some stuff.
Mm.
yeah. Um,
I've tried doing that and taking clips. But when I go to do it, and I think what you said earlier is part of the problem, Zaid. I really like these reels that go swirling around. Here we go, and now we can do this. So I just take all these clips and just put them in randomly into these things. And I guess that's what's coming over is that they're random and they're not linked to me or my branding. And I
yeah,
think that time that you've spent like soul searching what you want people to see and stuff is that's been really valuable. So you can absolutely see that through all of your work.
yeah. And you can still see that side of you who likes that, but it's I think how you display it. So when they're moving, are your corporate builder clients going to go, no, it's not me? Are they going to flip? Whereas if you're saying, I love to be fun and whimsical, and it's a nice like steady, calm environment around you, that's fine. I think it's the delivery of that. It has to be in a palatable way for them, um, which I've only found through like playing with things and seeing what
Mm.
works and looking at those insights. And
I think as a novice, I've started with the templates, and I think I just use what comes up then. So I haven't really thought about what that's portraying. I just thought, oh, these are templates. It means I haven't got to know too much. I've just got to put in the clips that I've taken and the photographs that I've taken, and that will work.
yeah.
The other thing that happens for me is I lose all my photographs. I take millions of photographs. Then when I go to use them, I'm like, where are they? Because I can't find them.
Well, what you can do is in that edits app, you can, so say you took some today and you want to keep them, you can upload them in there to save. So they'll be there then. And it doesn't matter if they go off your phone, you've almost got a bank of them built up. And saving that preview app, it'll like keep them safe for you. And then you can just pull them in, which I find handy because I'm the same. Or I'll go through a day and I'm like, okay, lots of content here. And then for 2 weeks, I've got nothing, but I know that I've pulled them all into that space and I just have to rejig things. And it makes life easier because you can schedule
Mhm.
posts to go out. But yeah.
So what have been the trials for you then, Zaid? When you first started, how many hits were you getting compared with where you're at now?
Well, I think I had about 120 followers. Bearing in mind, I only really launched my business about 2.5, 3 months ago now. And now I'm just under 1,000 and I've had people, because I've been consistent in it, I've had like influencers reach out to me and ask me about my work and say they're going to buy things and they want to share. I've had like ceramic distributors find my work. So it's that consistency rather than like, it's not always the hard sell. It's just creating a trustworthy, cohesive space and then people understand you and know what they're getting. So those people are then reaching out because it feels safe, I think. So yeah, I've kind of my following's massive, and it says, on my dashboard, oh, you've had 20,000 people on your Instagram this month, and it'll update every week then. So the numbers are going up because I remember when that was 2,000 and I was like, yeah, that's a lot of people. And now it's 20 and I'm like, yeah, we're still going. So you kind of got to keep the traction there.
And how often do you post and create videos?
Um, I'm trying to do at least 2 or 3 reels a week, whether that's a more passive one or voiceover. I do have a stock of photos, but I noticed they don't get as much traction. But Cheryl was just saying to me, actually, oh, it's harder to find photos for your work than on Google because you're sharing reels. So I will try and alternate them more so they're easier to fill, aren't they? If you post a photo, a reel does take a lot of time. Um, but yeah, 2 or 3 times and you're keeping up with the algorithm. Even if that's just on your story and stuff, you're still getting seen. Yeah.
And so, what is your ultimate goal with your reels? Are you going to be perhaps showing other people what you do, or what? How what you hope to do with them?
Yeah, so I want it to enhance my products more. At the moment, I've been focused on getting a following and getting people to understand me, and then I want to be able to take them on the journey with my pottery, to have my daily routines with my pottery more active in that. So you see the ritual of it and you understand how they're used and see the effect they have on me in my life and other people's. Because I'm selling it. It's just more than just a product. It's an experience to go with, and trying to hold that space throughout the reels, throughout my signature program, and it's holding that calm space. So
And you can work out the numbers right now because, as you said, you've only just started in 2 to 3 months of running your business. Yet your Instagram has gone from a couple of hundred to how many, say, today?
I'm just under 1,000. So
Right.
but then what I'll do is when I reach 1,000, I'll do a giveaway. So I'll make another reel and encourage people to share it. And my payoff is a mug or a vase, but for that, it'll get me lots of traction and Instagram likes that. The more engagement you have on there, the more it'll come back to you. So yeah, it's that confidence in what you're saying, I think. And if it's true to you and if it's authentic, then that translates. So the more I've trusted myself and been open and allowing myself to be more vulnerable on there and saying, I think one of my reels I was saying, to be honest, life's been really chaotic at the moment. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to go for a walk today and see how I feel. And obviously I feel better for it. So just telling you that it's okay to slow down. And that had loads of positive feedback. So it wasn't to do with my pottery. It was people connecting with me and showing that I'm human. So think about what you want to say. And, there's always people out there who will resonate with that. So you're finding your people.
And obviously, you're in the startup phase. So, how has this marketing approach impacted on the startup of your business?
It's definitely giving people confidence in me, I think. Like straight away, Wales Millennium Centre messaged me and said, I want to have your stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how that happened, to be honest, but I think it was because I'd created trust. And I was quite clear and authentic in what I was putting out there. So it's definitely having that impact. And then the more I share reels, the more companies that are finding me and asking me to do collaborations with, um, the more people are signing up for my newsletter, for my next stock release. So it definitely builds and you see it, you just have to trust it. And for a while I thought, oh, it's very quiet, but it's coming. You've got to trust the process.
And is it your major marketing platform, or are you using others to supplement it?
No, I've been a bit lazy so far, to be honest. It's been mainly Instagram, um, and yeah, I will branch out, but I think it can be really overwhelming, and there's so many different platforms, and there's different rules, and TikTok. I'm trying to fall into that world, but different things with hashtags and SEO. So I think start with what you know best and learn, and then it'll develop, and you'll naturally fall into those things. It just kind of opens up different worlds. But yeah, that's my primary platform at the moment.
And it's quite a unique approach for somebody to choose one platform and do it really well and build a business from it in just a short time. So that's really fascinating, isn't it? Absolutely fascinating. So we're getting to that time of the day. I just want us to give Zade a virtual round of applause for her sharing of what she did. You were amazing, giving me so many things to think about. So I'd love to get feedback from you guys to say, what have you learned from this? And how might you put it into action? I'll go first, so give you time to think. For me, it's been very much an eye opener in that Zaid has just chosen one platform, Instagram, and chosen one approach, and in such a short time has made such an impact. So it makes me wonder if people try and take on too many platforms and then not get the result because they've almost spread themselves so thin, they haven't actually concentrated on being an expert on one platform. And what I really like about what you know your the this marketing approach is that it's very much about your spirit, your soul, what's important to you, and how that comes alive using the platform that you've chosen. So I'm super impressed, Zade, super impressed to know that in such a short time you've had such a major impact. And really, really,
Thank you.
amazing. So, Karen, coming to you, what have you learned from this morning?
So yeah, I've lost and found you a couple of times. I've got an issue here with my laptop disconnecting. I'm on my phone now finally. It's the first time I put my laptop on here. I've got to figure out what's going on. So I'm going to re-listen to it, but caught the end quite well when I switched over to my phone. And definitely the thought of one platform and picking the right platform as well, because I launched my business on LinkedIn thinking that's where I've got the biggest following. And even though I am doing sort of more business focused work, if that is the right, and it's not completely in the creative, my dream client is in the creative space. So, just a lesson I've learned is make sure that you pick the right platform, not necessarily the one where I had a following because of my corporate background, but I'm switching now, and I'm really starting to hear from a lot of people. Instagram it really grows quite fast if you apply it right with the reels, etc. So I'm going to have a rethink of really which platform I will be using between Facebook and Instagram then. And build those out, and really create some content that will get the right followers on before I launch my signature program.
And I'm just guessing, but it's going to be a lot easier when it comes to my signature program, putting together a reel on the story behind the product. Yeah, because sometimes it can be so dry writing words describing something, whereas once you start illustrating it, that it comes into its own. The other thing I wanted to ask you, Zaid, is how do you do your sound? Do you have a particular microphone or something? So
No, literally on the Edits app, it's great. And so if you're uploading a video, you can literally, there's a little voice button here, and you can stop and start it as much as you want and record your audio and just sit in the room with lots of blankets or curtains and soft furnishings, and it's not tinny, and then that's all. It's nothing fancy. It's literally really accessible, really easy to do.
well, I'm so glad we've learned this morning. I'm thinking, how long have I not known this stuff? And I need to know it. Thank you. Over to you, Lynn. What have you learned this morning and how will you put it into action?
I've learned that I think I need to look at my social media completely, because when I started it, I was spreading myself thin, signed up on everything, repost stuff. There's no sort of logic really. So I think I need that consistency. And I need to re-aim because a lot of the stuff that I was just reposting wasn't to engage businesses. Because at the time I didn't realize that businesses were where that was where I was going really. So I think I need to just refocus, and stop trying to be everything. And I absolutely need to be putting more of myself. I really like the idea of the voiceover, um, but need to think about what message I want to give, like that consistent message, because it's not going to be let's go calm and let's walk in the trees. Um, and a part of that is like, that is who you are, Zaid. You do those things. But for me, working with organizations, they're not going to want to know that I go and sit in the garden and dig and plant. I'm going to need to find more creative ways of engaging that is also authentic. And I think that's what I've struggled with, is being authentic and also being right for that market.
I think though it's what you naturally talk about. So when you're telling me facts, like the other day when you said about men's mental health, is sharing those things that feel they're true to you, and they are you because you naturally talk about them. But I think you doubt then that's what your audience needs, but your audience need to trust you and understand you and your knowledge, and they buy in that. So I get what you're saying. It's the balance between your client and you and finding that middle ground. But it is there because people are buying your product. It's just you don't trust it yet.
Yeah.
And remember, Lynn, your superpower is storytelling. From a child, your superpower has been storytelling. And remember, the storytelling is about the problem your customers face. Yeah. And if you focus on that first, because they're coming to you for the solution. Yeah. They're coming to you for the solution. And so sometimes you can take yourself off the hooks, because sometimes I think you think it's going to be all about you, and it needs to be about the problems that you already know your customers are facing, and you know that you're actually solving those problems. So just start from that space, because you know that space so well and achieved amazing results in that space. And you're lucky because Zade is going to help you. You've got your own.
Cheers. I have feeder. She'll help me.
Lovely. Emily, what have you learned this morning and how would you put it into action?
Well, I was actually going to say more. If you look at my Instagram, it's completely different from Zades. So Zades is very organized and brand focused, and see mine almost purposely is the opposite, because I feel like for me, my customer, and for myself, I'm nothing like that. My brain is chaos. I'm the person who has food on them all the time, or paint on them all the time. And so I'm trying to be genuine to that. So I think it depends on your customer, but also I've done a bit of research into the different platforms. So I think if if your customer is corporate, LinkedIn is important. But I think Facebook as well, probably because people who work for corporations are still on Facebook. But Facebook is much more Gen X and millennials. Instagram's millennials with a bit either side. TikTok, I wouldn't bother with unless you're aiming at young people. And then YouTube apparently is quite millennial focused too. But each one is different. So it could be that your LinkedIn is quite professional and you share professional things and you share, facts about like men's mental health, the percentages of the that you were talking about, like how many people are off sick and how that affects companies. But then if you were to start a Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, it could be much more personal about you. So it could be like there's you, I'm having a day off in the garden, or and mixed in with those other things too. But not saying I'm an expert, but I found that just post it. Yeah, on Instagram you have to be consistent. So if you're going to post once, then do it once a week. If you're going to post 4 times a week, do it 4 times a week. But don't do it once every now and then, because it will ignore you. But I've noticed since I've been consistent in my posting, even if it's not necessarily consistent about a message, because I've got events going on, workshops going on, and I'm talking about mental health. But I try and do it. I tend to do 5 days a week now, just because I've got so much going on at the moment. I'm trying to sell lots of different things. But my engagement has gone up. So recently, just in the last 6 months, I've got I'm on 52.6 thousand views on my page.
Ooh.
But my thing is I need to then convert it into money. But like with Instagram, if you've got Instagram, that links to Facebook, so then you can just go into Facebook and edit slightly, or vice versa. And you can also set up a shop, which I need to do that. So then it links everything together. So that's almost an easier one to start with,
Right.
I think.
So, Emily, you've put yourself way in the center now of being able to deliver an Iron Woman hour.
No.
We want to know, well, okay, Emily, what are you up to? We need to learn from you as well, because it's all about styling, isn't it? And learning the different styling and the different impacts and what can we learn from one another. So, Emily, I'm going to give you a date now so I can. So first of
What
all,
have I done?
so before we say that, I just want to say a huge thank you to Zade, because that was just an incredible toe dipping into your magical world. And thank you so much for sharing your skill and your talent and offering us a different flavor to social media and recognizing we don't have to be brilliant at everything. We can just specialize in one and become really good at it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get online and have a look at edits and preview. Yeah, I'm going to have a little fiddle about.
And how quickly you've done it.
Yeah, and how quickly you've done it. Within 3 months. You've set up a business, got a presence out there, and you've got a flow of work coming in. That is magic. That is beyond magic. That is super special. Can we give Zade another round of applause? Yes. Thank you, Zade. So just for you to know, there is no I Am Woman Hour next Monday because I'm flying to New York and I'm coming back the following Monday. So I'm not going to be able to do I Am Woman Hour the following Monday. But Zade will be, and Emily will be speaking on the Wednesday of that week, which I believe is the, if we went for the Wednesday. So on the, so next week we don't have I Am Woman Hour, but on the 10th, remember it, Michaela is taking us through her discovery session. And I'm sure you will have seen her posting, but I'll make sure that you have a posting of it as well. So in the UK, it's at 7 o'clock in the evening on September the 10th, on a Wednesday. So do make sure you've got that in your diary. So we'll see how Michaela runs an amazing, I'm sure, discovery session for you to almost then start thinking about, okay, this is how Michaela does it, who, converts from nothing to 250,000 in a year. The points that she's raising matter, and you'll be able to untangle exactly what it is that she's doing and what you need to do as part of your discovery day. So that's on the 10th. And so I'm back on the 15th, and our next I Am Woman Hour, why don't we go for the 17th, which is the Wednesday? So if you can pop that in your diary as well, from 11 till 12 o'clock.
Do you mean the 15th?
I've
written it down wrong.
17th, because I'm still in New York on the 15th. So it's Wednesday the 17th.
Is it?
So there we go. Those are all the dates. So thank you again, Zade. I am beyond delighted and so excited to get going on edits. But also what you said as well about sitting down with yourself and being really clear about the theme, the colours, the feel of what you want to put over, and perhaps doing like a vision board or using Pinterest to pull together visuals in a theme, because as you were saying, Lynn, you've taken lots of photographs, but they're not somehow fitting together. So, this exercise you went through, Zade, was really important. Do you want to add something there, Zade?
Yeah. So again, just to help with that, when you're doing reels, you can change the cover. So if my reel looks nothing like my grid, but I did want it to look more cohesive, you can just go in afterwards. See, this reel looks like this, but my cover is a picture of me with the pot. So you can go in and change the cover on photos. So that's the most important thing. If your reel looks different to how you want it to fit with your grid, you can alter that. But yeah, just echoing what Emily said, it's not about looking perfect. It's not about looking. It's you that you're showing. So as long as it's cohesive to you and authentic to you, that's what sells. I'm not saying you all take the same photos or of trees or whatever, but that's authentic to me, and that's what my customer connects with. You got to find that for you, and then it comes.
It's like building a stock library of photography for yourself that you can dip in and out of, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose you repurpose so many images anyway. So thank you again, Zade, and look forward to seeing everyone soon. Have a fabulous week. And the next time I'll see you, I'll be in New York, September the 10th, in New York time, and you'll be in UK time. So really look forward to seeing you online with Kayla. I'm sure we'll have a lovely evening of learning with her. So have a great week, everyone, and look forward to seeing you soon. And thank you again, Zade. So cheerio.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.